And a good Saturday afternoon to you here on the ACC Network Extra. Today, two teams that are off to very different starts to their season. NC State 3-0 hosting the Maine Black Bears at 0-3. Hello everybody, so glad you could join us. My name is Andrew Sanders, joined by Chris Corciani. Hakuna Matata, it's Disney Day here at PNC Arena. Well, Chris, as we look at NC State off to a great start to their season, and it's really impossible to just key on one guy offensively.
Right now, they're a very difficult team to prepare for. They've got 5 guys in double figures, led by senior guard Torin Dorn.
And the Wolfpack having a lot of fun. They're the first team in the history of the ACC to win by 46 or more in each of their first 3 games.
When Coach Keats came to NC State, he said it was going to be up and down, track meet type of basketball, and so far it's been that way.
And here's the first-year head coach of the Black Bears, Richard Barron, but he's got ties to NC State. He was an assistant with the women's basketball team under Kelly Harper.
Did a great job as an assistant. Then he took over the Maine's women's basketball team, resurrected that program, and now Maine's hoping he does the same with the men's team.
Coach Barron looking for his first win as the head coach of the Maine men's team. NC State controls the tip, and we're underway here in Raleigh, North Carolina. This is Markel Johnson, the point guard for the Wolfpack, as they work it around the perimeter.
Maine's out in a 2-3 matchup zone and going to really dare NC State to beat them from the perimeter.
Isaiah White stepping in front of the pass. You see the starters for the Wolfpack: Torin Dorn, Markel Johnson, C.J. Bryce, Devin Daniels, and Wyatt Walker. Only 6 to shoot. Bryce to Johnson. Long 3 on the way. Why not? Markel Johnson has worked on that aspect of his game. That's his 5th made 3 of the season on just 7 shots.
Tell you, Andrew, good to see him back in the lineup after last game with an early exit when he was playing defense in the backcourt, got hit by a screen, but Coach Keats and NC State are happy to see him back.
Johnson takes the ball away from Ilya Stojicevic of the Black Bears and will throw the lob to Dorn. Nothing he could do with it, came down. They'll find a corner 3. And this is exactly what happened to Maine their last time out last Saturday at the University of San Francisco. Is San Fran just rained 3s down on them, got out to a big lead early. Dorn driving by Andrew Fleming, then sealed off by Stojicevic. Walker got a lot of size down there, and he used his bulk.
But this is not the start that Maine wanted to get out to. They wanted to control tempo, run their half-court offense, but down 8-0, this is not what they wanted.
Sergio Eldarwich had it knocked out of his hands by Bryce. Wolfpack off to a hot start offensively, Chris.
I tell you, they came out of the gates with 2 long 3s, and that's what NC State's going to have to do as they start playing more difficult competition. Are they going to be able to shoot 40-plus from the arc?
Eldarwich had his pass tipped. Long outlet.
Oh, beautiful.
You told me that Wyatt Walker reminds you sometimes of Wes Unseld. What do you think about that pass?
So I'll tell you, just a great outlet pass. It was one of those hockey assists. Threw it down, then the extra pass for the easy bucket.
Timeout, Black Bears and Rich Barron. There's the second-year head coach of the Wolfpack, Kevin Keats. And, you know, it's hard. No coach is ever satisfied, right? Until the last game of the year if you win the national championship. But it's hard to find the negatives in a 3-0 start when you're winning by 46 or more. So what has been his emphasis for his team?
Talking about negatives, there is no negative in his suit there. That is a very expensive, nice suit that Coach Kevin Keats is wearing. But so far in the early year, he's got to be really pleased. He's pleased with their offensive execution. But I think he's most proud of is the way that they're playing. Last game, they played with defensive intensity for 40 minutes, and I haven't seen an NC State team play like that in 20-plus years.
The Wolfpack going to pick up full court pressure. Stojicevic trying to beat it. And that ball was deflected, they say. So no backcourt violation. Maine just now trying to get into their offense, and there's only 12 to shoot. Bad pass. Here comes Dorn in the Wolfpack. And a foul. Sloppy play from the Black Bears. As you can see, they're really being hampered offensively.
You know, so far the tempo has been exactly the way NC State wants to play. Maine would much rather get it in the front court, run the shot clock, work it side to side, but NC State's not giving them that opportunity.
Yeah, already 3 turnovers for the Black Bears, so they've attempted just 1 shot. Vincent Easy, who has been a starter earlier on this season, didn't get the start today, but he is the first man off the bench as Stojkovic takes a seat. And Dorn missed the pair.
I'll tell you, NC State does a great job of getting in the passing lanes. Every pass is contested.
Vilgot Larson went hard to the rack, and he was fouled by Devin Daniels.
The one thing you can do, NC State's defending so hard, you see them overplaying, you can always try to break your man off the dribble. When I was playing and we would go and play against Duke over in Cameron, the one thing Coach V would always say is they want you to try to run your offense because they want to get in the passing lanes and get out and score. He said, let's play one-on-one. And as you see on that drive right there, sometimes that's your best offense.
Just go one-on-one, simple.
Because it's hard. You know, they're in the passing lanes, pressuring, trying to run your offense sometimes becomes difficult.
Sophomore from Sweden, Vilgot Larson, he missed both free throws. Ball tipped out by Easy, still NC State possession. Bryce finds an open Dorn in the corner, and NC State knocks down another triple.
Just a great offensive possession. C.J. Bryce penetrates, gets in the gap, and finds the open man. Very unselfish play.
Sergio Eldarwich going to have his hands full today dealing with this pressure. You can see the overplay that Chris was just talking about. Wyatt Walker here on Easy, all over him.
I tell you,
about 5 seconds, and he turned it over anyways.
I'm going to tell you something here, Andrew. The defensive intensity that NC State's playing with right now is amazing. It's not one guy, it's all 5 on the same page.
Strength of the Wolf is the pack, right?
No doubt.
Three to shoot. Eldarwich, blocking foul on Walker. And Eldarwich will head to the free throw line.
Good idea by Walker sliding over, but he certainly didn't get there in time. Good call.
First foul on Wyatt Walker. And if you're a fan of free throw shooting, this hasn't been your game so far.
Now, it'd be nice to see Maine knock one down, get on the board, settle down a little bit. You know, they want to try to find some positives. When they went out west and played 3 games, they got beat up pretty good. But in talking with one of their assistant coaches, he said, well, you know what? We beat Utah in the second half. So a lot of times, even in games when you're getting beat, you're trying to find positives.
There have been 6 free throws taken in this game. None of them have gone in. Braxton Beverly getting some minutes now for the Wolfpack off the bench, as is DJ Funderburk. Wide open inside.
Just a great look by Markel Johnson, and Funderburk shooting about 80%, and with shots like that, that number will stay there.
Darwich needing to find someone because he picked up his dribble. He gets Vilgot Larson here. Funderburk on him. The handoff to White. Larson, an open corner 3. That won't fall. Braxton Beverly can really shoot it off the back iron. Had been 50% from deep so far this season before that shot.
Looked like he wasn't quite set. He may have rushed that one a little bit.
Nice hands reaching in. Teron Moss forcing the turnover. Moss is a freshman that they really like. I think he has a very bright future. 2018 Maine Mr. Basketball.
Nice.
And that's what Maine wants to get offensively.
Right, they got the ball on the low post, and then the cutter slid down the lane for an easy deuce.
One official had a foul, but the other one had a travel before the foul. And so the turnover will take us to our first media timeout. DJ Funderburk, first 30 seconds of the ball game.
Does a great job of setting the screen and rolling to the bucket. And you do that when you know you're going to be fouled.
15-2, NC State leads Maine here in the very early going in PNC Arena. And hello, everybody. We welcome you courtside. My name is Andrew Sanders, alongside Chris Corciani. And Chris, we knew that NC State's pressure was probably going to play a huge part today. So far, that's been the main storyline.
That's the way NC State wanted to play. So far, early in the game, it's all been about pace. And it's been NC State winning that. They want to go up and down the floor. As many shots, turnovers. They want to play helter-skelter. Now, Maine, on the other hand, they would like to get into their half-court set, slow it down, but thus far that has not been the case.
Teron Moss will handle the primary ball handling duties here, and he promptly double dribbles with Blake Harris on him. And this is the non-starting five for NC State, but this is where I think it's really, really gotten into be a problem for the teams that NC State has played so far this year. Is the Wolfpack, they don't really necessarily have bench players. They just have 10 guys. They're fine with all of them going out there and executing the offense and the defense. Lockett as NC State stays hot from three.
You know, right now they're playing 10 guys. They can shuffle in fresh bodies. Hey, and there you see the pressure again causing a Maine turnover.
So a double dribble, a 5-second call. We're playing turnover bingo here. You're seeing some of the more rare ones.
Well, you know, they've only scored 2 points, but they're really not even getting the ball in position to score. NC State doing a great job on the defensive effort, but Coach Barron's got to be frustrated that they haven't been able to really get things going.
Funderburk battling with Andrew Fleming. Can't score over top of him. Nice backdoor cut. And again, that's what we were talking about. If Maine's going to execute their offense, they need that.
Yeah, they like to run that Jim Beeline, Princeton-type offense. NC State needs to be careful that they don't get lost on those backdoor cuts, but just a very nice offensive possession by Maine.
Hellam's off the mark on his three.
You know, Maine needs to just settle down, run your offense. Nice drive.
So back-to-back baskets here for Maine.
That's what Maine needs. Get a little bit of confidence, knock down a couple shots, but they've had 2 very good offensive possessions the last 2.
Yeah, scoring on consecutive possessions, you got to feel like will help boost the confidence a bit. Beverly, good look inside. Funderburk threw it low, and Lockett with good hustle. Jericho Helms, the freshman, misses the stick back.
Yeah. Good hustle on the offensive glass by Helms, but here you see just a heck of a backdoor cut. You know, it takes 2 there. It takes the cut, and then you've got to deliver the nice pass. Again, nice offensive possession.
We'll see what Maine can do with this possession. Darwich, strong take. Funderburk bothered that shot.
You know, they all help one another. If somebody gets beat, there's always another white shirt.
Blake Harris came careening through the lane that time. He was fouled. He'll go to the line.
just puts it down, sees an angle, gets all the way to the basket, gets banged pretty hard. I'll tell you, the thing I've been most impressed with Blake Harris so far in the first 3 games is his defense. I mean, guards are having trouble even getting the ball up the court. He's the best on-ball defender that NC State has so far. And, you know, when you play defense like that, you're going to get plenty of minutes.
And a free throw went in. NC
Wow.
State now 1 of 4.
That is funny. I think on those free throws, that basket is a little smaller. It's not one of those big baskets.
It's like the one at the state fair.
Exactly. I have spent many a dollar trying to make this. Got a little mismatch down here.
Fleming with a great recovery. And speaking of recovery, how about the block from Funderburg? Moss will launch and hit.
Oh, just a great effort both by Maine and NC State with the recovery block and then Maine knocking it down.
And then Moss got his hands on the Blake Harris pass. He's just 5'10", maybe a little undersized, but he can really play.
He knocked down that 3 like he knew what he was doing. It's good to see Maine clawing back here, cutting it to 8, and you see wholesale substitutions. Coach Keats is not really happy with this unit.
An 11-4 run. Beverly can't end that. And Maine, after that miserable start, playing much better here.
Get a little bit of confidence. You knock down a layup there, and then he comes back and knocks down a 3. They're back in it a little bit.
Back here in Raleigh, Maine on an 11-4 run. And Chris, what's changed for them offensively? They made 5 of their last 7.
Yeah, I think they got a little bit of confidence when they were down 15-2. They were struggling. They couldn't get the ball up into the front court to get into their offense. They got a couple easy buckets, led to a 3-pointer, but confidence breeds success. And right now, Maine feels that they belong here.
Out of the timeout, NC State head coach Kevin Keats going with his starting 5. And, you know, I made the comment they don't really feel like, you know, they really have backups. They have 10 guys that'll play. But there was a drastic difference between the starting 5 and the second crew.
Well, more so on the offensive end, I think they took some early bad shots. You know, if you've got a shot and it's a deep 3-pointer, Coach Keats doesn't mind you taking that. But he'd rather you take that late in the shot clock. So they took a couple quick shots, and I don't think that was what Coach Keats was looking for.
Johnson, another 3.
Hey, it's a funny possession. Torrin Dorn's down in the low post. Had 3 guys. He wanted to pass it. He just struggled to get out of the triple team and finds Markell for the 3-pointer.
NC State 5 of 9 from deep. Fleming, strong take, finger roll off the glass, you bet.
You know, when you're playing that pressure defense, sometimes the driver can find a lane, but that's where there's got to be help defense from someone on the weak side.
C.J. Bryce hits his second 3, and it's the same script. First Markell Johnson, then C.J. Bryce.
Yeah, NC State as a team is shooting the ball extremely well in the first 3+ games, and that's going to be one of the things to look at as NC State gets deeper into the conference play. Are they going to shoot the ball at a high level?
Torrin Dorn, a one-man fast break all the way to the cup.
Wow. I tell you, there's not many more athletic players in Division I. Torrin Dorn not only is extremely fast, but he gets up off the ground. Unbelievable. And here they come again.
Yeah, another turnover. It was a good cut from Fleming. The pass was behind him. Ball will stay on this end.
Look how fast he goes from making the steal before you can blink your eyes down up at the rim, laying it in.
Dorn comes out. Jericho Helms in.
See, Maine's in a little 1-2-2 matchup zone, trying to kind of slow NC State down. But when you're in that zone, you're susceptible to giving up three-point shots, and NC State's been hot in the early going.
Bryce drive, kick. Johnson feed inside to Walker. Spin move, reverse layup, a lot of English. No good. Darwich hit the floor, well done.
Got one down the court.
Isaiah White's been quiet in this one so far. Averaging better than 13 points on the year to lead the Black Bears. Maybe he can get going here with this drive.
That was a good-looking drive, and I think Coach Keats not real happy with the dribble penetration on that last drive.
And I think Andrew Fleming may be bleeding. That was the whistle, but that'll give us time to take another look.
I tell you, not only did he get by Markel, then he had to sidestep Devin Daniels with Wyatt Walker coming over. Just a very nice, impressive move.
.15 on the clock. Daniels, one dribble, pull up. That was his game at Utah. He shot a high percentage so far this year. It's not been falling yet from the outside for Daniels. He's just 2 of 16 from deep. Moss with a nice cut.
Got all the way that they did all the things they needed to, but they couldn't do the easy part, finishing at the basket.
Braxton Beverly set to check in for the Wolfpack. But the next whistle will take us to a timeout. Ball thrown away by Johnson. Larson looking ahead. White will finish.
Hey, Coach Barron's got to be real pleased. Again, down 15 too early. They have fought, clawed, and the thing that they've really done is just calm down and relax a little bit.
Johnson will step into another three. And one. Markel Johnson, 7 of 9 on the year from deep now.
I tell you, if he's shooting the three-pointer like that, he's hard to guard. You know it's tough to keep him in front of you, but when he's knocking down threes, he's virtually impossible to guard.
Well, at the start of the year, a lot of people thought maybe one of the weaknesses of this NC State team would be three-point shooting, but that hasn't been the case so far this season. It certainly hasn't been the case this afternoon.
You know, Andrew, I thought that was going to be one of the things to watch as this NC State team progresses. I didn't realize that they were going to shoot at such an alarming pace. They're 7 of 12 shooting over 50%. Markel Johnson and C.J. Bryce yet to miss a combined 5 for 5.
If you're just joining us right before the break, Markel Johnson knocking down a three-point basket. He was fouled by Teron Moss. And he gets the 4-point play. Then he high-fives Braxton Beverly as he heads out.
Off his leg, yep. Good defensive effort by Devin Daniels, getting in the passing lane and going off the Maine's player's leg.
So yet another Maine turnover. That is now their 9th. But the silver lining, at least it wasn't a live ball turnover, of which there's been many so far today.
Right, they've got 9 turnovers. They're shooting not terrible at 62%, but it's been the turnovers.
Jericho Helms, boy, is he athletic. Did you see that?
I tell you, he looked like he hung up in the air forever. Looked a little like Superman.
I guess it's not Comics Day though. It's Disney Day. He was like Peter Pan.
I don't. My
kids
kids are.
He can fly.
My kids are much older. I can't figure those Disney characters out anymore.
I'll try to keep my references to a minimum today then. Helms, he can shoot the mid-range J as well.
I'll tell you, Helms has come in and given them some really nice minutes here. Both with knocking down shots and with his defensive effort.
Just a minute ago, almost literally a minute and 6 seconds ago, it was 27-17. Now it's 37-17.
Gets a steal here and then gets a great pass. Braxton threw a tremendous pass on the ground, and Helms with the impressive finish.
See Wyatt Walker making his way to the bench. That was his second foul he just picked up as C.J. Bryce will join him.
And he did that last game. He's got to be real careful that he's not pressuring 30 feet from the basket. You want to pressure, but you don't want to foul. You don't want to give the opponent an opportunity at the foul line with cheap fouls.
White with Lockett on him. Tried to cross over. And initially it was signaled that it was going to stay on this end. It was clearly last touched by White.
Again, here you see Lockett with tremendous pressure, creating yet another Maine turnover.
NC State with Beverly and Lockett, Funderburk, Helms in, so Daniel's the only starter out there. And this was the unit that struggled last time they were in as a unit. Maine went on that 11-4 run. We'll see how they fare here. It started with the turnover. Lockett, tough shot. And a foul, I believe, will go against Helms. Still no signal. It is on Jericho Helms.
And here they go again. There's 10 guys in the backcourt, nobody in the front court. NC State's relentless with their pressure, creating all kind of turnovers and headaches for Maine.
Celio Araujo. Or Araujo, pardon me. Handling the point guard duties now. Blake Karras on him. Stojkovic inside. Moss hit on the wrist by Beverly. He'll go to the free throw line. And they get their guards cutting to the basket consistently.
It's hard to defend. As a defender, there's 4 other guys moving at all times. And I used to love guarding a guy that passed the ball and went and stood in the corner. That way he could relax. Didn't have to exert a lot of energy, but Maine's offense really makes you stay on your toes moving all the time.
Got to keep your head on a swivel for sure. Beverly bang. His 8th three of the year.
I'll tell you, that was the first one that he's hit today, but the other 3 looked like they were going down. Just shoots the ball with great confidence every time he lets it go.
Back now 8 of 13 from the bonus sphere. Stojkovic had it tipped by Funderburk. NC State continues to rack up those deflections and rack up the triples.
He was a step or 2 behind the line, but again, just raises up. With Braxton, there's just an incredible confidence that he has, but he also brings that to the team.
Devin Daniels said he thinks of Braxton Beverly. He said, I think this guy's the best shooter in the country.
He can shoot it.
Lockett, nice look inside, swatted by White.
That was a really nice block coming over, helping on the weak side and blocking Funderburk's shot.
Oh, White didn't catch it. Lockett will take it all the way. Left-hand lay-in is good.
That's the way NC State wants to play, up and down. Helter skelter.
And nearly another turnover before the whistle. Wolfpack on a 15-1 run as we head to the final media timeout of the first half. Maine trailing NC State here, but first-year head coach Richard Barron isn't the only first-year coach on staff. Ednisha Curry, the only female serving as a full-time assistant in D1 men's basketball this season. And in history, there have only been a handful. Very cool for Maine and for Coach Barron to hire her, have her on staff, and very simply, basketball translates.
I tell you what, kudos to Maine's athletic department, to their administration for breaking barriers and hiring a female Division I men's basketball coach. I can't, that's just a great story.
I remember I watched fairly recently, there was an SEC story about Bernadette Maddox and her time at Kentucky, 1990 to 1994, but there really have only been a handful. But basketball is basketball. Men's basketball, women's basketball, the game is simply the game.
Yeah, just great to see, and hopefully we'll see more of that going forward.
Yeah, and they're very excited about what Coach Curry brings to their program and a wealth of experience.
Yeah.
Lockett's follow-up will roll in.
That's Lockett's game. He's always around the ball. He's great with pressure and getting out on the break. Offensive rebounder. Not a great shooter, but does everything else extremely well.
NC State run is extended 17-1. El Darwich just wiggling his way through, trying to find some room, and he did.
It's a good offense there. They went side to side. They got the ball inside. They certainly have settled down, playing with more confidence after that early NC State lead.
Lockett with a no-look to Funderburk, didn't catch it. And Araujo is fouled by Beverly. That'll be his second.
You want everybody to play unselfish and make the extra pass, but sometimes that becomes a little too much. There, Lockett had a little floater, a little 10-foot pull-up, tried to make the extra pass and turn it over.
Celio Araujo, point guard from Brazil, one of many international players on this team, as I think we're going to get kick ball here.
Great effort there. You see Braxton with pressure on the ball. Lockett getting his hands on it. That's one of the things that NC State tracks. They track how many deflections are we getting our hands on in a game. And if you're getting deflections, that means you're really getting after it with great effort and intensity.
Moss bumped by Harris. Just the first foul on number 55 in white. And that's the 17th foul, so it'll be a 1-and-1. Which is maybe not the best news for Maine, considering how they have shot free throws so far in this one. First one goes down. They're now 2 of 7 from the line.
I tell you, Moss has put together a very nice first half. In 18 minutes, he's shown a little bit of everything. Scored at the bucket, knocked down a 3. He's been a bright spot for Maine.
See the effort defensively from this Maine team, but NC State really moving them side to side. Another backdoor find, and Andrew Fleming He's had a few of those now.
I tell you, very high IQ, knows how to move the ball in order to get open, and there he makes a great back cut for an easy deuce.
Beverly sets his feet. How did that not go down?
Boy, that banged around 2-3 times.
Harris hits from 16 feet. 1 minute to go here in the first half. Southpaw's three is a bit short. NC State won't waste any time. Harris, though, puts up an air ball. See if Maine holds for the last shot here.
NC State's not going to let them. They're going to pressure and try to create another turnover.
Low pass to Moss. Might have affected his shot. Tipped out by Lockett.
See Coach Barron calling out a play, out of bounds underneath. Again, he's trying to find positives being down 20. They could score here and go in the locker room. At least they'd have some confidence going into the second half.
Bryce got his own miss. And will head to the line.
Be interesting if they give him 2 shots on this instead of 1 and 1, because it looked like he was trying to shoot that back up. Yeah, they are going to give him 2 shots on this.
Bryce Reynolds in the free throw for his 7th point. There's too many turnovers in this first half for Maine.
Especially the slow start. They clawed back and showed a little bit of fight, but be plenty for Coach Barron to talk about at halftime.
And Coach Keats will burn timeout. Use it or lose it timeout. And they'll talk about this final defensive possession. NC State right now 19 points off turnovers. That's got them doubling up the Black Bears right now. Coach Keats and his Wolfpack will be in action Tuesday night as they welcome St. Peter's to PNC Arena. First tip is at 7 o'clock from Raleigh on your regional Fox station.
Be interesting to see what Coach Barron drew up with 6.6 seconds. They're going to have trouble even getting it up past half court.
Good if it goes. So the three doesn't fall for Andrew Fming. And NC State will take a 48-24 lead into the halftime locker room, Chris. And I think you said, well, Maine showed some fight there, but for the most part, NC State doing what they've done all season long.
Yeah, it's no surprise they had 48 points. They, right around 100 every game. They're playing exactly the way they want to play. This was going to be who was going to control tempo, and so far NC State has dominated the tempo that they want to play. Maine has shown some good spurts here and there, some positives, but overall it's been total dominance with the Wolfpack.
All right, we'll take a break. Halftime here in Raleigh. Wolfpack up 24. "15 schools, all on one network. A new place to call home, the ACC Network, coming August 2019. Very much looking forward to that. We welcome you here on the ACC Network Extra here at the half. 48-24, NC State leading the Maine Black Bears in the first ever meeting between these two schools. Hello, everybody, once again. Andrew Sanders. Of course, you know Chris Corciani, ACC legend. You were a great guard in the ACC. Let's talk about the guard play in the first half. What did you see?
Well, I thought Terrion Moss for Maine really had a nice first half, knocked down a three, had trouble getting him into the offense at all times. On the other hand, Markel Johnson, who's one of my favorites, great ACC guard, really had a big first half with 10 points and 3 assists.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the highlights from those two guards, and we'll start with Markel Johnson. Markel, he had the most assists at NC State since, you back in 1991, almost 8 per game. But it wasn't the assist that we were focusing on in the first half. It was the three-point shooting.
Well, I'll tell you, I think Markel's a very effective passer, but when he's looking to score and he's looking to shoot the three ball, I think NC State becomes a better team.
And Terrion Moss of Maine also really, I know, impressed you during the first half.
He did a lot of little things. He knocked down a three-point shot. He had a couple nice shots right at the basket. It's been hard with all the pressure that NC State's applying to him, but he's really shown his poise, especially the second part of the first half.
And here's a look at stats from first half action and what really stands out to me. Obviously, the points off turnovers, we talked about turnovers quite a bit, but again, that three-point shooting is just lights out for the Pack.
I'll tell you, if this NC State team can shoot over 40%, they're really going to be a problem for teams in the ACC. So the 8 of 15 really jumps out at me. And then the 13 turnovers by Maine, that's hard to go on the road, turn the ball over 13 times. And the score indicates exactly what these stats would bear.
Pretty new team for Coach Keats and the Wolfpack, but so far in 2018 it's been so good. Big reason why some of the older, more experienced transfers they've gotten. And on the other side of this break, we'll show you a little bit about a couple of those transfers. Here's a look at 3 of the key transfers for NC State and what they have done so far this season. 3 guards, 3 guys that can get after it defensively. They fit what Coach Keats wants to do. And you and I have talked about transfers quite a bit, Chris, and how it has changed college basketball. NC State has kind of been on the forefront, ahead of the curve when it comes to bringing in quality players like these 3.
I think that for a new coach, Coach Keats in his second year, in order to get a roster in, a lot of times you need to fill them with transfers. But these 3 guys, Bryce Daniels and Harris, they all play defense. They're all going to play big minutes for NC State. And, they want to be here. They sat out all last year, so they're hungry. And that's what you want when you're an NC State fan. And the coaches, they know these guys. They practiced all last year.
Yeah.
But when the lights came on, they didn't get that opportunity. Now they're taking full advantage of the 1 year they sat out. They got better. They prepared. And now it's their time.
You'll see those 3 and the rest of the Wolfpack in about 3 minutes, second half coming up on the other side of this break. Back with Chris Corciani, I'm Andrew Sanders. We're ready to start the second half. How about you? But first, a look at the ACC standings so far. And we know the league is good, but maybe historically good. 30-0 to start non-conference play.
Not bad at all. Yeah, certainly from top to bottom, year in and year out, one of the toughest conference in the country. I just have a problem with all these games preseason. I want to see teams play better non-conference games and not worry about the wins and losses. But like everything else, you need to accumulate a certain amount of wins, so I understand it from that point of view.
Pittsburgh picked at the very bottom of the ACC in the preseason poll, but they're off to a nice start under Coach Capel, 4-0. Here we go, ready to start the second half. Looks like NC State and Kevin Keats. And they go with Markel Johnson, Torin Dorn, Devin Daniels, Wyatt Walker, and C.J. Bryce.
For Maine, I'd like to see them get off to a good start, You know, Coach Barron, I'm sure, just said, listen, let's erase the first half. We're down 24. We need to try to build on positives. And just like they went to Utah and won the second half, I think that's what they're going to try here as well.
Yeah, that has to be the message. Say, we won in the second half at Utah. We can do that again here.
It's a tough position to be in, you know, when you're coaching down 24, but you always just want to realize you're building for the future, next game.
White, way short, rebounded by Devin Daniels. Larson matched up on him. No look pass. They find Dorn in the corner, wide open. Loose ball, both teams on the floor. And finally the whistle comes. Probably a little late for my liking because that's usually when things get a little testy after the whistle doesn't come after 3 or 4 seconds.
It usually is the case. They're, you know, both Maine and NC State hustling. It looked like a little loose ball in football. They all went jumping on it. And you're always happy to see two guys go after a loose ball and realize that, you know, it's just in great battle.
Offensive rebound momentarily for Bryce, but Moss picked his pocket, and the Black Bears are off and running. Finger roll from Vilgot Larson.
Tell you, Moss there with a nice dig in with the steal, and then the nice look ahead for the easy basket.
Bryce around a Walker screen. Probe in the lane. Kick out. Another open three for the Wolfpack, and another one that doesn't drop.
That's my concern with NC State. You know, I know early on they've shot the ball extremely well, but are they going to be a 40-plus shooting three-point team? You know, here they've missed 2 in a row. They don't have a lot of inside scoring, so if they're not scoring on the break and they're not shooting the ball well from three-pointers, you know, they're going to struggle.
And those open ones, those are the ones you have to knock down if you're going to shoot above that 40% plateau that you were talking about. What a feed. Daniels, Dorn, 2 points.
I tell you, he had trouble getting a hold of the ball. Finally gathered himself, made a good pass to Torrin, and boy, Torrin just got up in a hurry to lay it in.
Moss trying to turn the corner, and he was able to turn the corner, almost a straight line drive.
I'm loving Moss. He's my favorite little point guard out there for Maine. Had a big first half, and he's following it up here with a good start of the second.
Moss with 12 points on 4 of 6 shooting. Darwich underneath, blocked by Dorn. Daniels with a blow by and blew the lay-in.
You know, that's his game. You know, getting in the lane with the runners and short pull-up shots, just couldn't finish.
Moss thought he was going to pull the trigger there. Instead, Darwich spin cycle.
Oh, what a great looking shot. Good defense by NC State. Then he spun with a little reverse layup. Very impressive.
.15 to shoot. Dorn. That's a tough lay-in.
I tell you, he's such a great athlete. He makes it look so fun. He just hangs in the air. Probably the way you used to do it back in the day, Andrew.
Yeah, definitely. For less than a second.
Well, I'm not much over that as well.
Larson was already hearing it from the crowd, and he'll hear it again as he airballs for the second time.
Here he goes, quick off his first step, hangs in the air, and lays it in. Just an impressive athlete.
Dorn been leading NC State offensively. He's got 9 in this one, but rather quietly. Beverly, Walker. Not much there from Fleming, but he's charged with a foul.
Good dribble drive. here, beats his man off the dribble. Help comes, finds the open Walker, not able to finish.
Just like you used to do it.
I threw it out to Rodney. I tried to just find an open guy, and Rodney would take 5 or 6 dribbles, shoot it, make it, and I'd get an assist. So. It was interesting before the game watching NC State big men. There was only 3 of them. Do different shots. Generally, there's 5 or 6 big guys in a roster, and NC State not with that luxury this year.
How about Andrew Fleming taking off?
Moss with a strike. Threw that ball 3/4 of the court, just on a line. Great timing, and the basket.
Johnson to Beverly. The guards can't connect, but Walker keeps the play alive, battling inside. Darwich rejected it. Bryce is getting more physical.
Tell you, Bryce might have got away with one there. He created a little space to find room for the bucket.
Fleming was trying to leak out. This time Dorn says no. Spinning dish from Markel Johnson. Getting some oohs and ahs from this crowd.
Great pass by Moss to the Fleming with the jam.
Today we've got 2 important Week 12 games for you on ABC. In the Big 12 at 3:30 Eastern, just about 20 minutes from now, Will Greer leads number 9 West Virginia against Oklahoma State in Stillwater. Then at 8 Eastern, it's 9-1, 24th ranked Cincinnati taking on 9-0, number 11 UCF in the AAC. UCF has won 22 in a row. Their last loss coming December 17th. 2016. Of course, that's the longest current streak in Division I. As always, both games are also live on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. And I know that that is generally your backyard down there, UCF ways.
That's right. Born and raised in Miami, and very, very happy to see Central Florida in the mix, getting a lot of recognition for what's going on. I think tonight Cincinnati's going to give them all they want.
I think so too. But do you think if UCF runs the table, they should get Bama?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
no.
good.
I mean,
I'm just checking. I agree.
It's one of those things. You've got to go with the 4 best teams, and I like to throw out the records too. I mean, if somebody is a 1-loss team, and even Notre Dame being undefeated, if they're not one of the top 4 at that time, I think you throw out the wins and losses.
You're an eye test guy.
That's right.
Another air ball, and Vilgot Larson. That's 3 for him.
Yeah, he's,
And this student
shooters,
section is relentless.
when shooters don't have confidence, it's hard to make it, and he's a little rattled here. Give credit to the NC State's student section. They're certainly letting him know about that.
Well, he gets the turnover here. Maybe get his confidence back on the defensive side. Start there. He gets rid of the ball quick.
There's a little hot potato there.
Here in that chorus.
You better believe players understand the crowd. They can hear things, and right now he's struggling a little bit out there. I'd like to see him hit his next 3-pointer, though.
No doubt. Lockett, one dribble. Good bounce pass inside to Helms. He missed the box.
He got bumped a little bit there as he went up, but nice pass by Lockett. That's Lockett's game, putting it on the floor, getting to the basket, trying to create for his teammates.
Not a good pass from Larson as he handed it off basically to White Shoelaces. 10 to shoot. Maine hasn't gotten the ball inside the arc yet. And I'm not sure if they will. They force it inside. Larson scores right before the shot clock expires.
Good to see him get one go down. Struggling a little bit, but that one right there will give him a little confidence going forward.
Helms, corner 3. And NC State, you might have expected that they would cool down from outside the arc. They have here in the second half.
Well, they were red hot in the first half shooting the basketball, but they here in the second half, they have cooled.
El Darwich can't dial it up. And Maine doing a good job getting back. But there's the trailer. Splash.
Tell you, Braxton Beverly knocks down the three, but you got to give credit on that basket to Blake Harris with the deep penetration and the kick out.
The made basket allows NC State to do what they do best, pressure full court. It is sort of a snowball effect for Kevin Keats' team. The more they score, the more their defense bothers you, all of a sudden you're down 46.
Well, I'll tell you what, the team seems like they're having fun. You know, they got 10 guys all playing, everybody scoring. It's just a real happy locker room right now for NC State.
El Darwich will head to the line for the three-point play. That's the second foul here on Helms.
Just a great entry pass there and the nice finish around the hoop.
Sergio El Darwich, one of quite a few international players on this team. He's a junior from Lebanon. And of the 16 players on the roster, 12 of them were born outside of the U.S.
Amazing.
11 different countries represented.
It's the United Nations. But, you know, that's what you have to do when you're at Maine and you're trying to build a program. A lot of times you've got to either get transfers or international players, and they certainly have done a little bit of both.
Big block by Fleming there. Yeah, the winters can be difficult. Got to like the cold weather.
You've got to really like the cold weather. One thing that they have that I love is the lobster. Maine lobster, nothing like it. That would be certainly one thing I would be using if I was a coach on recruiting visits, is we got all the Maine you can get.
There's Maine first-year head coach Richard Barron. I was telling you a bit before the break about how many international players they have on the team. They also traveled internationally back in August. Got to take a trip to Costa Rica, play some basketball, also do some service as well. And as we know, those trips, Chris, you get to take one every 4 years. Is Fleming beats the horn? No, he didn't.
Give it to him. Let them have that one.
I think they're going to review this one, but those trips are great for building culture, especially for a first-year coach and trying to get guys to gel.
Here you see Fleming just blanketed by Lockett, throws it up. He needs to be rewarded for such a difficult shot regardless of the shot clock.
So they'll go to an official review here.
But to your point, Andrew, yes, you know, when you have a young team, first-year coach, having the ability to go overseas once every 4 years is really valuable, but more so to Coach Barron's team where he was putting together international players, and it can be very beneficial to these young teams.
As you can see there, I think you can see the reflection of the goal. We're looking at DB Sport right now, but this is our best look, and this is, yep, it looks like it was out of his hand, I suppose.
I think it was out of his hand.
Yeah, right. Yep, it was. Do you like having video review in college basketball?
I like it, but I'd like to see, if a referee can't get it within a certain amount of time, then
you just got to stay with the call.
Stay with the call. I don't
field.
like the long delays that you see
court.
from time to time. Yes, I'd like to get it right, but I don't want it to slow the pace of play. You know, baseball's been interesting with the replays that they've interjected, and you know, for the most part, I've enjoyed that as well.
I think the NFL has also done a better job of making the replays much faster.
Right, and I like the rule where it has to be evidence to really overturn a call. If they're not sure, they stay with the call made on the floor.
Shot clock winding down here. Lockett. That was goaltended by Fleming. So Fleming gets the credit of the basket on one end and gives it up on the other.
It's a little something different. This is NC State in a little 1-2-2 full court press. Generally, you see NC State just with man-to-man in the backcourt.
Dennis Ashley getting his first playing time here today as Fleming absorbs the contact and scores it.
You know, for Maine, you want to find all the positives, and they're fighting, you know, down 30. They're still going at it. Another great back cut. And Fleming getting it going here a little bit in the second half.
As Beverly picks up his second foul, he will head out along with, well, everyone on the team. It is a full-on line change here. You know, there's a hockey game immediately following this game, 7 o'clock tonight.
I tell you, I love staying after a little bit and watching those workers come out here. And boy, do they take this floor down and whip the other one down. It's real impressive the way they get that done in just a couple hours.
And of course, hockey is absolutely huge in Maine. A very proud hockey program with multiple NHL players. Paul Correa, Mighty Ducks back in the day, or Jimmy Howard, just to name a couple. But one more Maine grad who will be playing in the game tonight, Chris. Carolina Hurricanes starting goalie, Scott Darling.
Oh.
Is a Maine Black Bear.
Where'd you find that tidbit?
How about that?
That's impressive.
But I've received word that he was going to be the starting goalie tonight. So I thought that was an interesting tie-in. No word if, you know, he's already in the building. Maybe found an empty seat watching his old team play. It's now 13 points for Fleming. And Daniels knocks in a 3. And that's really been a struggle for him so far this year, a little bit surprisingly.
He's the one guy on NC State that really, I think, can score the basketball. When we get in the thick of the season, Daniels is going to have a big impact with scoring for NC State. Again, Maine not giving up with another backdoor lay-in.
Yeah, Andrew Fleming was just a hair under 10 points a game entering this one. He's going to be a double-digit scorer by the time he leaves here today. It's been his show here in the second half as Torin Dorn does a chin-up on the rim.
Nice look by Wyatt Walker to the slashing Torin Dorn, and Torin does the rest of it with his athletic ability.
And they've got Dorn on Fleming here. Isaiah White really hasn't gotten going here at all today. Moss, a look inside. Got to feed the hot hand. Fleming going to work. That's a good move.
I tell you, that's a big league move with his left hand. He's strong, physical, really having a big second half for Fleming.
Bryce. That's the second time Maine has fouled a three-point shooter here today. The first one went in out of Markel Johnson's hand.
Well, not a smart foul. You were right there on defense. Here you see the backdoor Fleming cut, and looks like Fleming scored the last 6-8 points, just not giving up a bit. But C.J. Bryce looked like it was going to be a bad shot. It was contested, but the Maine player fouled him on that.
Yeah, Maine's made all 6 of their last field goals.
You know, as impressive as NC State's been, you know, Coach Keats is going to look at that stretch and say, you know, guys, we can't have that. And you don't want to start believing how good you are because you're winning by large margins. Right. And the coaching staff is going to point out all the negatives so that they don't get fat and happy.
I think it's interesting. You were talking about Maine just focusing on segments of the game. Remember, it was 15-2 to start. Maine looked completely overmatched, overwhelmed, out of sorts, and it's only a 22-point game now. So really, NC State hasn't made up a lot more ground since that point.
Now, there's been a lot of positives. I think this point guard Moss has had a very nice, solid game. You know, they're going to take all the positives and try to build on that. They didn't come into this building thinking they were going to win. They knew they were, you know, undersized, not quite as athletic, but there's plenty of positives that they can take.
Moss forced into a bad shot because of the shot clock, and Stojkovic is able to recycle things. you're talking about NC State getting fat and happy. That, to me, is why it's the craziest stat, is that they're the only school in ACC history to win by 46 or more in each of their first 3 games, because, as you well know, there's been some great teams throughout the history of this league.
Oh, no.
And there's been some powerhouses that have played, a couple easy games to start this season. But we'll talk more about that on the other side. Wolfpack up 22. Well, the Black Bears are outscoring NC State 23-21 here in the second half, and a big reason why. I think Pete Carrill would be very pleased with this offense.
I tell you, they run it extremely well. And again, early in the game, NC State didn't allow them to do that. They weren't able to get the ball in the front court and get into their offense. But here in the second half, they have executed much better.
The first-year head coach, Richard Barron, going from the women's side as the head coach at Maine to the men's side. It's not often that coaches will do that, go from one side to the other. He actually, did recruited Brittany Griner at Baylor.
Wow.
Before he came to NC State. But I think that's big for them to have that continuity, and someone that was there in 2011. He's been up in Orono for quite some time.
No question. Just a great hire to be able to promote Barron from the women's side to the men's side. And just gives them great continuity. You don't see that a lot. Also, kudos to the Maine administration for hiring the first female Division I coach. But, coaches come and go. It's good to see Barron stay there and continue. Continuity is so valuable. I know here at NC State, baseball coach Elliot Avent's been there for 20-plus years, and the program that he has built is incredible. And a lot of that has to do with the continuity, year in and year out, always in the upper part of the ACC.
This actually makes the three-pointer. Well, you always want your coaches to work out, stick around for a very long time, build a legacy. Certainly what NC State is hoping for with Kevin Keats just getting started in his second year. That's what Maine's hoping for with Richard Barron. His first year on the men's side, but his 8th year with the program, with the university, I should say. First 3 of the season for Wyatt Walker, and that got the crowd a little interested.
He can make it. That's one that I don't believe they want him taking all the time, but when he is wide open, that's one he can bury.
And I think the officials are going to look at the monitor here. And once again, second official review. And you know what? We'll get a look for you when we can. Well, here it is.
It looks like a little inadvertent blow to the face, but I didn't see anything that warranted anything more than that. See his Funderburk's right kind of wrist smacks him in the face, but certainly inadvertent. Now this is where I want to put the referees on the shot clock.
Okay.
Go over, look at the monitor. You've got 15, 20 seconds. Boom, let's get back to playing.
And they're getting together here. You know what this will do, though? Gives me time to tell a story.
Good.
I got one. I asked you if you like replay in the NFL, right?
Yes, you did.
Well, do you know the tie-in with that at NC State?
I do not.
Okay, so Blake Harris's dad, Bernardo, played in 2 Super Bowls with the Green Bay Packers. As Funderburk, they ruled that it was a flagrant foul. So, 1999 playoff game. You might remember this one. I know I do. Packers, 49ers. Jerry Rice made a catch. Hall of Famer, best receiver ever, Jerry Rice. Blake Harris's dad, Bernardo, stripped Jerry Rice of the ball, recovered by the Packers, looked like the game was over. Except it was ruled that Jerry Rice was down. But replay showed that Jerry Rice was indeed not down, and the ball came out as Markel Johnson cans a 3.
Wow.
Later on that drive, and this is what you might remember, later on in that drive, Steve Young to Terrell Owens, touchdown, 3 seconds left.
Remember
the Black
that.
Bears throw it away.
Certainly remember that.
And you remember the catch two, they called it,
Yep.
to T.O. late. It looked like the Packers might be on their way to, another Super Bowl appearance. And so after that game, the next season is when the NFL instituted instant replay.
Wow.
Or
So if
video
they would have
replay.
had instant replay, that would have been.
And many people say that it was that play that kind of forced them. Obviously, there was instant replay on TV. They had the technology. They just hadn't put it into the game yet as part of the official rules. And I'm sorry if Blake's dad, Bernardo, was watching and that's bringing up a bad memory. But he made a heck of a play and stripped Jerry Rice of the football. And he's one of the reasons that we have video replay in the NFL.
That is great. And I'm sure that he is probably more proud of the fact that he created the potential for the replay.
And now we get to argue what is and what is not a catch, right?
Exactly.
74-49, and the turnovers continue to pile up for the Black Bears. That is number 18.
I will say one thing about replay is that I watch it in slow motion, and sometimes you still can't get it right. So very difficult to make the call right on the spot, let alone go to replay and see exactly what happened.
Stojicevic comes out, Larson back in, much to the delight of the fans sitting behind us. Johnson dials up another three. This one won't drop. And Kevin Keats is about to send 5 new players over the boards here. Moss dishes to Larson. Up and under and hit the bottom of the backboard. Bryce, what a creative pass from Markel Johnson.
He threw that pass with his right hand across his body to the streaking C.J. Bryce.
The only time I've seen someone throw a pass like that is in Ultimate Frisbee. That's the only time when you roll your wrist all the way around like that. Five new players in for the Wolfpack. Let's see this pass.
I tell you what, that's hard to even do, let alone throw it so accurately. The one thing teams can't accuse Coach Keats is kind of running up the score and keeping your starters in or not playing your bench. He only has 10 guys, and they're all could be starters at this point. It's very unique. You don't have walk-ons or you don't have additional players. You got 10 guys, and they're all playing, they're all contributing, and that really makes for a happy locker room as well.
Yeah, it's got to, right? Because everybody is getting the time. Everybody is sharing the sugar, as you like to say.
That was the best look Braxton's had all night, and it didn't go down.
And Lockett's pass was deflected, but it worked out perfectly. It falls right to Dorn.
That's when you know it's your day, when your pass gets deflected. It's not a turnover, but goes right into Dorn's hands, and he lays it in for yet another easy bucket.
Speaking as what you were saying, everybody happy in the locker room, not just with minutes, but this team sharing the ball like you like to see. 19 assists on 27 field goals for the Pack. Yeah,
they're very unselfish, and you watch them in practice, and they go at it extremely hard because they know that there's going to be minutes on the line as they get into the ACC season. But thus far, everybody getting plenty of minutes and plenty of shots. Woo!
Andrew Fleming, quick off the floor.
I tell you, Fleming has had a big second half. Strong guy that doesn't look like he can get up and flush it quite the way he does, but just a tremendous athlete.
I think he surprised some of the fans here because he threw that down with authority.
He surprised me as well.
Didn't surprise me quite as much because I don't know if you noticed earlier when he threw down that two-handed jam as Helms finishes in traffic. He was way up there.
Yeah, he's a high riser. He's their leading scorer, the guy that they're going to depend on as the season goes on to kind of lead them in conference play.
The Maine Gatorade Player of the Year, his senior year in high school, Andrew Fleming. Throw it down, big fella. Kevin Keats' team once again up 20 or more. The Wolfpack today haven't been as proficient shooting the three ball as they have been the previous 3 games. And, you know, they came into this one averaging 100 points a game. And a big reason why is because they've knocked down threes at a, well, if you're an opponent, at an alarming rate.
Yeah, it's been not just one player. It's been a cast of different players that have all knocked down shots. Here in the second half, haven't quite shot it as well as they have in the first 3 games, but certainly have played well.
Mix Anthems seeing his first playing time today, putting a nice bounce pass into the lane. There's Anthems. Again,
a play like that takes 2. You know, it takes the nice read to cut to the basket, and then the passer has to deliver a precise pass for execution.
So now El Darwich will have to contend with the students making some noise for a promotion that requires 2 missed free throws. And all of the fat heads, I guess you could call them. There's quite a few memes. They want the chicken for one, but there's all kinds of weird stuff going on with those fat heads.
Did you say they want the chicken? I want the chicken too.
You want the chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I got my free chicken sandwich.
Sounds good.
I got my free one last week. Good kick out pass. Boom. That's basketball right there. Under control, getting in the lane and finding the open shooter.
So White now has 9 points, go along with 5 rebounds. Started to get into this one a little more. NC State answers back the other way. Torin Dorn, as he does, the silent assassin, he's got 15 points.
You know, he's a senior leader and, you know, the one guy that's played in a lot of big games, and he's going to be called on to do a lot for this NC State team as we get into the ACC schedule.
Fans here very excited about the opportunity for White to go to the free throw line. He just made this 3. I don't think he's going to miss both free throws. Entered this game 4 of 6 from the stripe. Has not attempted a free throw yet today. Never a doubt.
Tickled the twine. Wonder what the opposing players, you know, they're like, gosh, we're down 20 plus and the crowd's going crazy. What in the heck's going on? Wonder if they have any idea what the fans are doing.
In the corner, Helms puts it on the floor, sealed off. Bryce, a spin move, lost it as he got into the lane. Moss goes up amongst the trees, and he is fouled.
That's my guy, Moss. Had a great game. He's scoring, defending. There you see him taking it coast to coast. And he'll have an opportunity for 2 more points off the line.
Moss, the freshman from Portland, Maine. Best basketball player in Maine for the last couple of years at the high school level, and he misses the first.
This crowd is into it.
With crying Piccolo girl looking on. That's a clutch free throw from the freshman.
And the crowd boos him. Tell you what a great marketing idea by NC State marketing. It has certainly kept the masses to stay till the end.
Just a 21-point ball game. Harris trying to change that. He won't with this shot. Anthem skies for the board. I was asking you about that earlier. You know, NC State winning by such a large margin. partially it's the talent, obviously, and the style of play, but even so, it's so rare to win by that many times in a row, because normally you're going to have a game where you get up comfortably and kind of kick it on cruise control, and NC State hadn't done that to this point. I feel like in this game, though, they haven't quite had the same intensity that we saw the first 3 games.
Right, it's a combination of a number of different things. It's one, NC State has shot the ball extremely well in the first 3 games.
Okay.
The other thing, their defensive effort and intensity has just been incredible, and that's the one thing that I've been most impressed with. And the third thing is they're playing teams that just quite aren't as talented as they are. But when you put those 3 things together, it certainly is possible.
Doran Rust is shot, but Lockett saves it, only to have a shot clock violation.
Good hustle by Lockett, and Bryce doesn't get credit because the shot clock.
Let's look at the Wolfpack next 5 games. St. Peter's, Mercer, then Wisconsin, Vanderbilt, back-to-back, followed by Western at Carolina.
You know, when I spoke to the coaches earlier in the year, I said, which out of all the early non-conference games was going to be the most difficult? A lot of times coaches won't tell you the truth, but they said Mercer. They said Mercer's a good team, and we're going to have to be ready to play.
Antums. Bryce cleans up board, and that should do it here. So NC State improves to 4-0 on the year with an 82-63 victory over the Maine Black Bears. The Wolfpack has won 26 of its last 27 non-conference games here in PNC Arena and improves to a perfect 10-0 all-time against teams from the America East. It was a business-like performance today for the Wolfpack, Chris, as they got up big, 15-2 early, and really were never threatened in this one.
No, you know, they got out of the gates right away, and that's what you want to do against teams. And didn't play a great second half. Certainly a lot of things that they can improve on. Give Maine a lot of credit. They fought the second half and, you know, only lost by 20 to a team that is certainly superior than they are.
And like you said, for Maine trying to take some positives out of it, like they did at Utah, they won the second half today here in Raleigh. So that will do it for our broadcast here from the City of Oaks. For my partner, Chris Corciani, and our fantastic crew here, my name is Andrew Sanders saying so long. Final score, 82-63. NC State wins it to improve to 4-0. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.